The last section, section 9.3, talks about similarity. And similarity is a different type of transformation. And basically what it says is the size of the figure changes. It's going to be a different size, but not the shape. So how can that happen? Well, if you put it on a copy machine and reduce it by, say, 50%, the size may still be a right triangle, but it may be just smaller. So what happens when we do this? The angles that correspond mean if I were to line them up, those angles are the symbol again that we're going to look at here in a minute called congruent. The sides are going to be proportional. Now, not just any sides, but basically the ratios of the corresponding sides. So they have to kind of line up, and that ratio, which would be a division, we are going to show that they are proportional. They're going to be proportional. We talked a little bit about proportions in chapter 6. And so when we do our exploration on this, you'll see what we mean by proportionals. And this ratio that we find, that ratio has a special name, and that ratio is called the scale factor. So if I take a right triangle and I shrink it, all sides shrink down by a half, the scale factor would be a half. They would be the same shape, so they would still be this right triangle. The angles would still be congruent. Corresponding angles would be congruent. Notice they both have that same right angle. You can see that they're different sizes, and the sides then would be proportional. They would be half as long. So the corresponding sides, here's my hypotenuse. If it was 8, the corresponding side, half would be 4. We'll have an activity on that again, like I said. And lastly, similarity, similar. Something is considered to be similar if and only if the following: corresponding angles are congruent and corresponding sides are proportional. So if those two items happen, both corresponding angles are congruent and corresponding sides are proportional, the objects are said to be similar. The symbol for similar is just the squirrely bar. That's it. We've been using this without really kind of defining its meaning. So if we look at the symbol congruent, it's got this little similar squiggle on top. So when we say geometrically something is congruent, we pick it apart into an equal sign, and that would be referring to areas. And this little symbol, which is on top, just says they have the same shape. They are what we call similar. So when we talk about congruent shapes or congruent sides, we say that they are congruent, meaning that their areas are equal, and they are the same shape. So that concludes the lectures for Chapter 9.